All right, everybody, welcome back to RCT Creations. No RCT today, though this should be the last time for quite a while that a roller coaster video game of some sort is not included on my channel, although we are in the final round of the RCT Creations coaster rankings. A little while back, I put out a post on my community page that said, hey, I've ridden 241 coasters in my time as a coaster enthusiast, but I've never actually sat down and ranked them. Would you guys be interested in me actually doing that? And the overwhelming response was yes, go ahead and do that. So that's what we are doing. And this is the final round. So what I'm using is a bias sorter, which I will link in the description in case maybe you want to do the same and actually sit down and rank your coasters. But what it does is it takes a list and it pits the rides up against each other, and you pick, and at the very end it'll sort through and rank them out one through whatever amount. In this one we do have 50 items, as we can see right here. So we have 50 coasters. This is the top 50. And what I did for my rankings was I took 241 and sorted them into groups of 50. The final group was a little bit shorter at 41, but what we have here is the top 10 from each of those groups, and they are in the final round here. So let's go ahead and get started right here. We have Batman the Ride at Six Flags Over Georgia, the classic B&M invert, a classic Batman clone, and Thunderbird at Holiday World, a B&M LSM launched wing roller coaster. Between these two, while the Batman layout is really good and the Six Flags Over Georgia one is an especially good example of that, it had been closed for about 2 months and it finally opened on my last day there, and this thing runs hot. And I mean, it runs so fast, it's so intense, but Thunderbird is going to get the win there. Diamondback Kings Island, Goliath at Six Flags Great America. Goliath, a RMC topper track coaster, has a phenomenal dive loop, phenomenal first drop in the back row. The stall on this is the best stall that exists in the world, I think. And Diamondback at Kings Island has these staggered seating trains and is a very, very good example, very solid example of the B&M Hyper. The pull off the back row is incredible if you ride in the front 2 cars or so. The airtime as the train shoves itself over those parabolic hills is great. Between these two, Goliath is just too short. What's there is really good, but Diamondback gets the win there. Nitro, Six Flags Great Adventure Pipeline, the surf coaster at SeaWorld Orlando. I do like Nitro. The airtime hills did not quite hit as strong as I had hoped they would in when I rode it. And Pipeline just really surprised me. The feeling of your feet leaving the floor over the airtime hills as you're standing up on the quote-unquote surfboard is absolutely crazy. It's a long ride for what it is. And while it does have a little bit of the kind of negative aspect of hurting your calves and feet a little bit, what it does is just so good. Between these two, Pipeline is just so unique, and I hope B&M is able to build more of these in the future, but I'm going to go Pipeline. The Raven at Holiday World, Raptor at Cedar Point. Raptor being the first big-scale B&M invert they built, it was the first one to feature a mid-course and run 3 trains. The Raven was the first coaster Holiday World ever built, and it kind of started setting them up on the path for success. And the Raven is a phenomenal wooden coaster. It was running a little bit rough when I was there, but if anything, it didn't detract, and if anything, it added to the experience that you got from it. Weird thing when I was there, though, they couldn't transfer a train off because the computer system wouldn't allow them to do that. So what they did was they kept both trains on the track, but they just ran one of them empty, which was kind of weird. But I mean, this thing flies. It hits the brake run at such high speed, but Raptor, I think, is just that much better. The first drop on this thing after the pre-drop off the lift, it turns to the left, and then after it turns, it levels out and just gets steeper. So in the back row, you actually get a really good dose of airtime. The loop is great, the 0G roll. The roar as it goes around the main midway at the front of the park is just so good. The Cobra roll's great, very snappy. And then you have the 2 corkscrews and then the helix at the end. The only detractor I have for Raptor is the final turn into the brake run, which is very, very jarring. But Raptor's going to take the W there. Alpengeist and Talon, 2 B&M inverts up against each other here. Talon at Dorney Park is a very solid B&M invert, but it doesn't compare to Alpengeist. Alpengeist actually tries to tear your feet off as you go through the first half. The loop, the Cobra roll is absolutely crazy. By far the best Cobra roll I've ever experienced. It's just so strong. And while it does take a lot of speed off at the mid-course, it kind of has to. And then the theming is just really good too, with the ski lift support structure on the lift hill. And then the just theming in general. We are going Alpengeist. Top Thrill 2 and Orion. If Orion was a longer ride, I don't think this would be a debate. But Orion is just such a short coaster. The smallest of the B&M Giga coasters. I do count it as a Giga because it has a 300-foot drop. I know the lift is only 287 feet. The operations on this ride are always stellar, though. I mean, they're not stacking this thing. Like, the longest you'll ever stack on it, typically, if there's no delay in the station, is you might stop outside the station for a little bit. And with how short of a ride it is, it's actually really incredible the way they run this thing. First drop is great. The wave turn is what they called it. It's really not, though. It's just kind of a high bank turn is good. You got a couple good airtime hills. The upward helix is really good, too. And the final turn of the brakes. The problem is it's just too short. With Top Thrill, while it doesn't have that super strong initial launch, the backwards launch is really good. The floater airtime on the spike is really good. The third launch, where you're going 100 miles an hour down the entire launch track, is phenomenal. And then with the seating being higher up on the train, a higher heart line, the trains whip down that drop. I gotta go Top Thrill too. Prowler, Worlds of Fun, Raging Bull, Great America. There was a time where I considered Prowler to be my favorite wooden coaster ever. It's lost that a little bit, and not because of roughness, but just the way the roughness affects the speed the train travels. It loses a lot of speed at the midpoint of the ride, and it just doesn't pick it back up the way it did when it opened in 2009. And Raging Bull, the 9-car B&M trains, it stands apart at the park it's in because of how long of a ride it is. And that pre-drop into first drop in row 9 is crazy how good the airtime is. Has that B&M roar, and with its twister layout, I gotta go Raging Bull. Pantheon, Mystic Timbers. And while Mystic Timbers is a very, very good ride, I love the theming of it. I love going up the lift hill with the speech and then the cutout of the microphone. And then the ride itself is just really, really good. This is Prowler, but souped up. But Pantheon, Intamin LSM launch coaster. The first launch is okay, where you go over that 0G roll, but the swing launch on this thing is incredible. You get the airtime going forwards, you get it stronger going backwards, and then it just hits peak when you go back up that top hat. And then what's after is just perfection. Even though it's very, very short, what's there is just that good. We're going Pantheon. A battle of, again, B&M inverts. We have Afterburn at Carowinds and Batman the Ride at Six Flags Great America. Afterburn is so good. It's such a strong ride. It's so intense. It's so whippy. And Batman the Ride is the same way. This one is not the clone. The one at Great America is the original. And while I love the Batman the Ride layout and the one at Great America does run pretty hot, it just doesn't hold up to Afterburn. I mean, you have the loop, the dive loop, or it's an implement, excuse me, and then the bat wing underneath what used to be their second entrance. It's just crazy through that tunnel, and it's so strong. You have that little lull before that last corkscrew into a tightly wound helix into the final brakes, and then the theming is just so good too. I love the way the trains are painted like fighter jets, because it used to be Top Gun, but even after the retheme, I love the name too, Afterburn. That's what we're going with. Stardust Racers Photon against Kumba at Busch Gardens, Tampa Bay. The Photon side is the yellow side of Stardust Racers, in case you didn't know. That's what they're actually named. And then Kumba at Busch Gardens, Tampa. 2 Florida coasters. And while I do love Kumba, one of the first iterations of a modern sit-down looping roller coaster. It's huge. It's still smooth to this day. It's intense. It's a long ride. Stardust Racers is a long ride as well, and it showcases how good these modern coasters are. The launches are incredible. You have the airtime hills, and while I do think the Pulsar side, the green side, is better, Stardust Racer is going to win out there. Millennium Force and the Boss at Six Flags. That's supposed to be St. Louis. Ignore the Great Adventure. The Boss at Six Flags St. Louis against Millennium Force at Cedar Point. And the Boss really did surprise me. If this had been my trip in 2015, this wouldn't be here even close. But after 2025 rides with the new Titan track on it, this thing is absolutely incredible. Flies through the first couple drops. I mean, just the first drop where you dive down underneath the structure and then it drops again before it levels up into the second hill. Absolutely insane. With the removal of the double helix, which a lot of people are upset about. And I do miss the laterals of that helix, but the final 2 bunny hops are incredible. But Millennium Force, I've said it before, and I will say it again. This is the perfect roller coaster. It's not my number one, but every time you ride this thing near the back, everybody, it seems like, has their hands up. It's so smooth 25 years later, soon to be 26 years later. And with the controls upgrade, the lift hill now runs the way it's supposed to. It's Millennium Force. El Toro Six Flags Great Adventure. This is actually Six Flags Great Adventure against Goliath at Six Flags Over Georgia. Between these two, El Toro has a stronger layout. The only problem I had with it when I wrote it in 2023 is it definitely was showing its age. It definitely needed some track work. And I'm glad they're finally putting that work in. They've ordered new track rails from Intamin and are starting to replace them. And I really hope they can get most of that layout redone because what is there is really, really good. But what's there at Goliath is also very, very good. I love the first drop, the first airtime hill. It's pretty standard B&M. However, where this ride shines is after that downwards helix. The downwards helix is the best moment of this ride, but after that you hit a set of trim brakes because this ride was the first B&M Hyper to not feature a mid-course brake run. It sails over the return airtime hills in the front rows especially. That's where this ride really shines. But even with how rough El Toro was, it's just not a competition. Magnum XL 200 at Cedar Point against Grizzly at King's Dominion. Even with the gravity group adding height to Grizzly, with it being smoothed out, the airtime on it's great, but I'm going to go with Magnum XL 200 here. I'm a huge airtime fan, and Magnum absolutely delivers. Magnum, again, is the prime example. It was about the limit of what its primitive design was capable of. Continuous radius design, if you don't know what that is, when they started a curve or started designing a curve, the radius was the same until they decided to stop it, meaning the curve was the same continuity until they decided, let's change it. It's very apparent when you look at those final airtime hills. You have the valley as a continuous radius, straight track to connect the next radius that is the peak of those airtime hills. And the final 3 hills on this ride determine whether or not you love it or hate it. I think the roughness adds to it. If you look at the final airtime hills from the red side of Gemini, the fourth hill, the first one leading into the final chorus of airtime, is stretched out. And it was like Ron Toomer just wanted to have 3 hills on the way back, so they just smushed them together. And what is there is just insane. Legend at Holiday World against Iron Gwazi at Busch Gardens, Tampa. As I've said before, Legend really surprised me on my trip there. It gave Voyage a run for its money. When you hit the helix, I thought we were close to the end of the ride. It had been a while since I watched a POV of it, but then the ride just kept going. The helix was only like 2/3 of the way through the ride. The schoolhouse theme, the headless horseman, and then the bell that the operators can ring as the train dispatches is so good. And then the howl when it reaches the top of the lift. But Iron Gwazi has to take this. The beyond vertical drop is crazy. Once it starts, it's just out of this world from start to finish. The death roll, just crazy. So Iron Gwazi, we're going to go here. And now we have the two that give Cedar Point the best 1-2 punch in the world in one section of the park. Maverick, the 2007 Intamin Blitz Coaster, and Steel Vengeance, the RMC Hyper hybrid roller coaster that opened in 2018. I remember the hype. I remember watching Steel Vengeance get constructed when I visited the park in 2017. Maverick, while being a phenomenal ride, I love the first drop. I love the whippy turns, the horseshoe roll. The second launch is crazy. The Stangle dives of the second half are so good. But Steel Vengeance is just such a long ride. It's one of the few rides where I can wait 3 hours and still think that it was worth the wait. I love the second half. I think it has a better second half than first half. I love flying through the structure. And then that last barrel roll where you almost get disorientated and just completely forget where you are. I gotta go Steel Vengeance. The airtime is that good. Skyrush Hershey Park against Air Force One at Fun Spot Atlanta. If this was Skyrush with the old restraints, I think I'd have to go Air Force One, but new restraints, new comfy Intamin restraint Skyrush is so good. I mean, the first drop with the kink that just throws you out of your seat in the back row. The cable lift on Skyrush is almost its own element. It goes so fast. Although Air Force One does have the best airtime moment on the planet at the end of that double up, and it has the arcade roll, I gotta go with Sky Rush. The Voyage against Top Thrill Dragster. Top Thrill Dragster is a one-trick pony. Fortunately for it, its one trick was really, really good. Um, Although the Voyage is just so long. I mean, you have the 3 consecutive airtime hills going up the hill. You have a spaghetti bowl section into a mid-course brake run, and then you go back down the hill. And I think that's the best part when you start flying back towards the station. There's a spaghetti bowl section, and then you hit the brakes. The ride is so long, and hopefully near the end of May, I get some trimless night rides on the Voyage. But even without that, it's the Voyage. Twisted Timbers Velocicoaster. Velocicoaster is the best coaster in Florida, in my opinion. The airtime hills on it are great. I love the Jurassic World theme. The queue, even though it's usually pretty long, usually isn't too bad to wait in just because there's so many distractions. The first launch is good. The spaghetti bowl section on the Raptor paddock is great. The second launch is incredible. The airtime through the second half where you're flying over the paths is great. And then how can you forget the Mosasaurus roll? However, me being a huge airtime fan, I don't think there's a better display even from RMC of airtime than Twisted Timbers. I love the theme of Twisted Timbers. It's not nearly close to as in detail as Velocicoaster, but I love like the old school diner music that plays in the station, the haunted apple orchard. I think it's really, really cool. I love the old school truck trains that it has, and the chorus of airtime. The 3 hills that lead out away from the first drop, each one gets stronger airtime and then stronger. And then my friend and I used to make fun of trick track double ups like the one on Storm Chaser because they didn't really do much, but this one really proved us wrong. And to follow that up with that outwards bank under the first turn off the lift, it's Twisted Timbers. Mamba Intimidator 305. If this had been 5 years ago, Mamba wouldn't even be in this conversation. The fact that Worlds of Fun has committed with that controls upgrade to leaving that mid-course brake run off turns Mamba into an elite coaster. I said it. It's elite. But unfortunately, it's going up against Intimidator 305, one of my favorite coasters of all time. The 300-foot drop into that right turn, the airtime hill, and then one of my favorite elements ever is after that second hill where it banks left, levels out, and then banks left again into the first set of twists. Insane. The Gentlemen Start Your Engines Before the Dispatch. I haven't ridden it as Pantherian yet. I wrote it as Project 305, and I wrote it as Intimidator 305, and there's no more fitting name for a coaster than Intimidator for what follows it up. So we have Thunderbird and Undefined. I don't know what Undefined is, so I guess Thunderbird's going to win that by default. Batman the Ride It Over George is going to win that by default. Now we're at Diamondback and Candymonium. Not sure what the Undefined is. I'm curious to see what that is at the end. I'll look into that and post a description in the comments. But I tried to correct that once already. This is my second time recording it. And we're going to continue through Final 50. Kind of disappointing that had to happen. But either way. Diamondback, Kings Island, Candymonium at Hershey Park. I do like Candymonium. It's a solid coaster. But Diamondback is the better B&M Hyper. Goliath at Great America against Candymonium. And while Goliath is very short, what it delivers is really, really good. Candymonium is okay. I love the placement of it up at the front of the park. The operations on it kind of hold it back for me. I know that's not the ride's fault. And then the queue that Hershey set up for it also holds it back for me. It's just you sit and bake in that concrete oven heading up to the ride. And while the ride itself is solid, those two things hold it back. The length of Candymonium just can't hold it up to Goliath for me. Pipeline the Surf Coaster against Outlaw Run at Silver Dollar City. Outlaw Run is really good. One of the old school RMCs. Topper track wooden roller coaster. Has a little bit of roughness, but I don't think it detracts from it in any way, really. Pipeline, though, is going to take it for that feet off the ground moments. Between Nitro and Outlaw Run, though, I got to go Outlaw Run. Raptor Cedar Point against Monster at Adventureland. This is an elite ride, too. No doubt about it. I love this thing. I still can't believe my home park got a ride this good. The hang time on it is out of this world. The first drop, those Gerstlauer drops are great. The restraints are comfortable. And then it's a decently long ride, too. And also, I will say, one of, if not the only good set of trim brakes ever on a coaster. I mean, the hang time on the final two elements are out of this world when that trim brake hits just right. And while I do love Raptor and its whippy elements, Monster's floaty hang timey layout is going to get the W there. Alpengeist Montu, the Battle of the Busch Gardens inverts. Montu I really, really like. But the way Alpengeist just tries to tear your feet off in the first half, if Montu's mid-course brakes didn't hit as hard as they did, it would easily be Montu for me. But both times I've been to Busch Gardens, the trims have hit really hard, and it's just slowed down so much. I gotta go Alpengeist. I love the theme of Alpengeist, and just the way it tries to tear your feet off are that good. Between Talon, though, a pretty basic B&M invert, Montu is the easy choice there. The Beast at Kings Island against Top Thrill 2. I love Top Thrill 2. I love the second and third launches. I love the barrel roll down. However, controversially, I love the Beast first half. I love flying through it at night, especially. It feels like a very, very long train. And although the trims in the brake house hit really hard after the first drop, I love the feeling of picking up speed the closer you get to the second lift. And then how can I not mention the second drop into the double helix, which is just insane. We're going to go with the Beast there. Raging Bull and Mako. I like Mako a lot. It's probably the most solid B&M hyper, modern B&M hyper, if I had to say it that way. Although we'll see if we get against Diamondback. We'll kind of see how my opinion shapes out there. But Raging Bull is the perfect example of early B&M kind of being experimental with their designs. The pre-drop in row 9 into the first drop. The best airtime on any B&M to exist ever. And then the twisty layout is just so unique compared to Mako. I mean, Diamondback, Candemonium both do kind of the same thing Mako does. Goliath does as well. Raging Bull is just unique enough that it's going to get the win there. Prowler and Mako. Again, I love Mako. I love what Mako does. But I kind of love the out-of-control feeling that Prowler does give you. It's kind of a short ride, but what's there is really, really good. I'm going to go with Prowler. Afterburn at Carowinds against Pantheon at Busch Gardens Williamsburg. Now, this might shock some people. I need to get some more rides on Afterburn to see if it still holds up. But while I do love Pantheon and its airtime moments, what Afterburn does in its intensity is just that good. I gotta go with Afterburn here. Although over a Batman, the ride layout, I'm gonna go with Pantheon. Mystic Timbers, I gotta put over Batman the ride as well. And now we have Stardust Racers, the Photon side, again, which would be the yellow side. Pulsar is green, against Renegade at Valley Fair. Pre-2025 wouldn't be a conversation, although the rides I had on Renegade were really good in 2025. The S-curve drop is really good. The airtime into the first turnaround and back off the first turnaround are really good. And it has those twisty elements. And then you fly back towards the station. But Stardust Racers is just that good with its airtime and its two punchy launches. The 0G roll where you can almost reach out and high-five the other train is going to get the win there. Kumba, I've got to take over Renegade as well. And now we have a battle between two Intamin legendary coasters here. And while I do love King Dakar, and I love it to death, Millennium Force, as I said before, is the perfect roller coaster for everybody. It's tall, it's fast, it's so smooth. And while King Dakar has one heck of a good trick, if you rode anywhere towards the back, it rattled pretty bad, to the point where multiple re-rides were kind of difficult on this thing. I gotta go with Millennium Force. The boss at Six Flags St. Louis against King Dakar Six Flags Great Adventure. And while I do love the boss, and it really surprised me, the King Dakar one trick is a really good trick. Gotta go that way. El Toro Six Flags Great Adventure against Stardust Racers, the Pulsar or green side. This one's pretty close, I think. And if El Toro had been smoother, I think this would have been an easy pick. But Stardust Racers being such a long ride, 2 launches, as I mentioned with the Photon side, the 0G roll over each other, and then they race together. And then the onboard audio on Stardust Racers is also very good. And I'm usually not a fan of onboard audio, but I gotta go with Stardust Racers. Iron Gwazi, Magnum XL 200. This one might surprise some people, but I gotta go with Magnum XL 200. The triple airtime dose right at the end, the aero lift hill. It's just crazy. Even the third hill, where it's just the strongest floater ever to exist on the planet, I gotta go Magnum. Between Iron Gwazi and Grizzly, I gotta go Iron Gwazi. Now this one's kind of tough, but with Legend being a longer ride and the CCI, crazy helix, and then just the theming elements of Legend, I gotta go Legend. Steel Vengeance at Cedar Point against Wildcats Revenge at Hershey Park. Kind of the challenge between Alan Schilke and Joe Drapes here. Between these two, with Steel Vengeance being the longer ride and with its more focus on airtime, Wildcats Revenge has good airtime moments, but it's got some lateral moments on it too. I'm going to go with Steel Vengeance. Between Wildcat and Maverick, I got to go Maverick. Skyrush, Hershey Park, Time Traveler at Silver Dollar City. This one is pretty tough. And while I do love Skyrush, unlike the SNS 40 free spins, where every ride is different, and that cannot necessarily be in a good way, with Time Traveler, every ride being different is such a benefit to this thing. You have the 90-degree drop out of the station, the bell that rings when you dispatch from the station, each car starts spinning. You can go through a 0G roll sideways, you go through that second launch in whatever direction. I gotta go with Time Traveler. The Voyage at Holiday World against Fury, 3-2-5 at Carowinds. Between these two, this is tough, and it's really, really close. I love Fury. Fury is the best B&M. It's their magnum opus. It's their perfect design. The 300-foot drop. It's got some very intense moments. It's got some crazy ejector airtime. And I need to ride Fury again, but right now my heart is telling me the Voyage. Although it gets Top Thrill Dragster, the one trick that Dragster has, which while amazing, is not Fury 325. And now we have a battle of the KD coasters. I-305, Twisted Timbers. The first matchup between the two in the series. I rode them so far apart they were not in the same flight. I-305 and Twisted Timbers complement this park so well. They complement each other so well at this park. I-305 is the crazy, stupid, intense coaster, whereas Twisted Timbers is the airtime feast. And when they first announced Twisted Timbers, I thought there's no way a smaller size RMC would be able to compete with what Insanity and Intamin Giga Coaster like Intimidator 305 was. But it does. It competes really well. However, in the end, I'm picking I-305. Mamba, Worlds of Fun, and Twisted Timbers, both airtime machines. I do think Twisted Timbers delivers a little bit better. Between Velocicoaster and Mamba, I gotta go with Velocicoaster. Diamondback, Kings Island, and Thunderbird. While I do like Thunderbird, I think what Diamondback does is better. I love the height, I love the speed, and I love the airtime that Diamondback gives. Between Goliath at Great America and Thunderbird, again, if Goliath was longer, I'd probably lean this direction, but Thunderbird's going to get the win. And now two short rides here. The Batman at Over Georgia is crazy. I mean, it runs so fast. I mean, compared to even the Batman at like Six Flags St. Louis, compared to the Batman at Great Adventure, it runs so fast. Just crazy work. And if Goliath was longer, again, what Goliath does is really good. But as far as RMC elements go, it really only has 3. It has it really only has 3. That's all I can say. It has an airtime hill, a dive loop, and a stall. And that's just not enough to beat that Batman. Again, we have Undefined. I don't know what this was. So we're going to get a couple wins by default there for Candemonium. And the other one, Monster Adventureland Pipeline, the Surf Coaster at SeaWorld Orlando. Well, I do love what Monster does. I got to go with Pipeline. Between Monster and Outlaw Run, I think Monster's the better ride. Between Raptor and Outlaw Run, while I do love Outlaw Run, it's a shorter ride. And I love the whippiness and intensity of Raptor. I like the Raven more. And now we move into the Beast and Alpengeist. The Beast at Kings Island is a legendary status coaster, and there is a reason for that. As much as I love the feeling of my feet trying to get torn from my body, I gotta go with the Beast. Top Thrill 2 and Alpengeist. I like Top Thrill 2, but Alpengeist is a more complete ride, so I'm gonna lean that way. Same thing with Montu, although I will take Top Thrill over Talon. I will take Orion over Talon as well. Afterburn at Carowinds against Raging Bull at Six Flags Great America. It's basically, in my opinion, the best of each class. Afterburn is not as long as Raging Bull. It's got its intense moments, but again, the back row pull off that first drop is so good. And then just the long ride this thing is. Raging Bull is enjoyable from start to finish. Afterburn is too, but Raging Bull I think would just appeals to a much more broad crowd. And I feel like after I get off Raging Bull, everybody that's ridden it is having a great time. Between Prowler and Afterburn, I gotta go Afterburn. Between Pantheon and Prowler, I gotta go with Pantheon. Between Mystic Timbers and Prowler, this would probably depend on which one I rode last. Although I think Mystic Timbers keeps its speed better, and I love that it has the little shed and then the theming elements on it. Batman at Great America against Prowler. I think I'm going to lean towards Batman at the time. Millennium Force against Stardust Racers Photons, the yellow side. As much as I love Stardust Racers, Millennium Force is the perfect roller coaster, and if I had to pick one to ride right now, I'm going to pick Millennium Force. King Decot Great Adventure against Stardust Racers. And my nostalgia, it's probably leaning me in a specific direction on this one. The legendary status of King Decot is so good. I love the presentation of Stardust Racers when you walk up. Oh man, this is a difficult one. The one trick in King Decot is really good. And if I'm putting my bias aside, I think I've got to pick Stardust. If I'm picking between Kumba and King Decot, I think I got to go King Decot just for the legendary status. Going up 456 feet is just one heck of an experience. The launch was such a good experience. And it seemed like the entire crew at King Decot just took such great pride in working that ride. So I got to go that way. Boss at Six Flags St. Louis against Kumba. While close, I think I'm going to lean Kumba on that one. Although against Renegade, I got to go with the boss. Magnum XL 200 against the Pulsar or green side of Stardust Racers. Unpopular opinion. I got Magnum XL 200. I think I would also take Iron Gwazi over Stardust. Although against Legend, I got to take Stardust. Legend gets El Toro. If El Toro is smoother, I probably would pick El Toro. And I really hope I can ride this again soon after a couple of those track segments are replaced so I can get a good experience on it. But I'm going to lean towards the Legend at this time. Although I will take El Toro over Grizzly. Goliath over Georgia against Grizzly. I'm leaning Grizzly on this one. Time Traveler and Steel Vengeance. This is one heck of a matchup right here. I love Time Traveler so much, but Steel Vengeance is such a good ride. I mean, it's just nonstop from start to finish. But I'm leaning towards Time Traveler. Sky Rush and Steel Vengeance. I'm going to go with Steel Vengeance. Maverick and Sky Rush. A little bit closer. I don't hold Maverick in quite as high regard as a lot of other people do. I got Sky Rush. Area Force 1 and Maverick. I've got Area Force 1. Intimidator 305 and the Voyage. While I love the Voyage, I love how long the Voyage is. Intimidator 305 is by far the best at what it tries to do. You're never going to see another ride like Intimidator 305 built ever again. The general public aren't huge fans of it because it's too intense, but as a coaster enthusiast, as a lover of just how crazy Intimidator 305 is, that's the direction I'm going to go. And now this one's tough. Twisted Timbers and the Voyage. I love Twisted Timbers. I really do. And I thought Twisted Timbers would be my number 3 heading into this. But if I had to pick one to ride right now, I'm going to go with the Voyage. Against Fury 325, though, I'm going to pick Twisted Timbers. Between Fury 325 and Velocicoaster, I'm going to go with Fury 325. I love airtime. I also love height and speed, and Fury 325 is the complete package in that regard. And while Top Thrill Dragster, the one-trick pony, is really good, again, Velocicoaster is going to win that one. Pre-Controls Upgrade Mamba would definitely lose this, but post-Controls Upgrade Mamba, going to take the win. Pipeline against Diamondback. Diamondback is really, really good, but I love the uniqueness of Pipeline. Monster and Diamondback, while a little bit closer, I think I'm going to lead Monster on that. And I'm going to take Diamondback over Raptor. I'm going to take Thunderbird over Raptor, but I will take Raptor over the Over Georgia Batman. I think I will take the Raven over the Over Georgia Batman as well. Between Outlaw Run, though, I think I got to lean back towards Batman. Goliath at Great America against Outlaw Run, a battle of the two topper track wooden coasters. One thing that's good, the thing that's going to win out for me on this one is the level of smoothness each one provides. And they're both very, very short. Outlaw Run does a lot of good things, but I think the things Goliath does, it does better than Outlaw Run. And I think it's a little bit smoother, and I love the drop on Goliath more, so that's the direction I'm going. Outlaw Run, Candemonium. Candemonium, very standard ride. I got to go Outlaw Run there. Between Candemonium and Nitro, this might be the closest matchup I've seen so far. They both do the same thing, and they both do them fairly well, but Nitro does have that intense upward helix into the mid-course and the longer trains. And longer trains mean you get better drop in the back row, so I got to go Nitro. Raging Bull and the Beast at Kings Island. While I do love the Beast, I got to pick Raging Bull. Afterburn and the Beast, I'm going to go Afterburn. Pantheon and the Beast, I got to go Pantheon. Mystic Timbers and the Beast, this one's close, but my rides in 2025 on the Beast were that good. Over Mystic Timbers, I got to go Mystic Timbers over Alpengeist. I will take Alpengeist over the original Batman. I'll take Monsu over the original Batman. I would take Top Thrill 2 over the original Batman. Orion I would also take. However, against Talon, I got to go with the Batman at Great America. Prowler, I got to take over Talon. Mako, I also have to take over Talon. Magnum XL200, this is a matchup we've already had, and I stand by what I said the first time. While Millennium Force is the perfect coaster, Magnum is like the perfect coaster for me. Millennium Force Iron Gwazi, I got to go Gwazi. Stardust Racers Green or Pulsar, we got to go that way. Against the Legend, I'll take Millennium Force. Against Legend, I will take the yellow side of Stardust Racers. Against King Daka, I will take the Legend. And this is a battle we've had before as well. And I think I might lean a different way this time. I think originally I picked El Toro. Recording this a day later, I think King Daka was the best coaster we rode at Six Flags Great Adventure. And again, I know there's some people that might think nostalgia plays a good part in it, and you're right, it probably does. And I can't even see probably, it definitely does. But just the legendary status, the aura of a ride like King Daka that has, the sound of the launch of that train taking off, the cable whirling down, and then the train rocketing behind it, I'm taking King Daka. Kumba and El Toro. While I do love Kumba, I think El Toro takes that one. Kumba over Grizzly. The Boss at Six Flags St. Louis against Grizzly. A battle of two excellent wooden coasters, but I got to go with the Boss. Renegade against Grizzly. This is pretty close as well, but I like the unique layout of Renegade. And now we're at I-305 against Time Traveler. And I've mentioned that I absolutely love Time Traveler a lot, and I can't wait to go ride that again. But I got to go with Intimidator 305. The Voyage against Time Traveler. I think I got to go with the Voyage. Twisted Timbers and Time Traveler. While fairly close, I got to go with Twisted Timbers. I got to go Fury. I'm going to take Velocicoaster, but I will take Time Traveler over Mamba. I'll take Steel Vengeance over Mamba as well. Sky Rush against Mamba. Pre-controls upgrade. Again, this is not even close if it's pre-controls upgrade. Even with the new restraints, I think I'm going to take Mamba over Sky Rush. I love the length that Mamba has. I love the layout Mamba has, the more traditional hyper style. The helix, the downward helix at the end of the third hill is just that good too. Top Thrill Dragster against Sky Rush. I got to go Sky Rush. I got to take Air Force 1. Between Dragster and Maverick, this is pretty tough. But leaning into it, it's one heck of a trick, and just the aura of Top Thrill Dragster, as I mentioned with King Daka. I'm pretty sure I picked this last time in the first episode. I got to go with Top Thrill Dragster. Raging Bull, Six Flags Great American against Pipeline, the Surf Coaster. And while I love Pipeline, this is a no contest. Same thing with Afterburn. Same with Pantheon and the Beast. Although against Mystic Timbers, I gotta take Mystic Timbers there. Alpengeist and Pipeline. I think I will lean to Pipeline in that one. I'll take Monster over Alpengeist. Diamondback and Alpengeist. While a little bit closer, I still got to take Diamondback. I think I take Thunderbird over Alpengeist. Between Raptor and Alpengeist, if the mid-course didn't hit so hard on Alpengeist and it ran a little bit faster through the second half, I don't think it'd be a question. But Raptor's pacing, I think, is better. And they have kind of the same whippy elements. Raptor's just on a slightly smaller scale and is a little bit more easy to appease. And then I love the airtime hill you get on Raptor as well, down the first drop in the back. So I got to go the Raptor. Raven and Alpengeist, I'm going to go Alpengeist. Raven and Monsu, I got to go Monsu. Top Thrill 2 and the Raven, I'm going to go with the Raven. Top Thrill 2 and Batman, the ride at Over Georgia, I got to go Top Thrill. Orion at Kings Island and Batman, I got to go Orion. And now we have the battle of the Batman clones. Well, Batman original against, I think, the best Batman clone. And while these are the two that run the hottest, by far, they both run so fast that I've been on. They're so intense. And while I would take Batman the Ride Over Georgia, with this one being the original, and in 2023 at the very end of the year, I think it was 2024 at the end of the year, I got a phenomenal ride during Fright Fest on the Batman at Great America, and they had all the theming elements working on it. The Batman theme song from like the cartoon was playing in the station, and it's gonna win out there. Between Prowler and the the Over Georgia Batman, I gotta go with Prowler. I would take Mako over the Over Georgia Batman, but I will take the Over Georgia Batman over Talon. I think I'll take Goliath over Talon as well. Between Talon and Outlaw Run, I'll take Outlaw Run. Between Talon and Nitro, though, I think I'm going to lean to Talon on that one. Now, here we go. Intimidator 305, Magnum XL 200. Intimidator 305 is absolutely crazy, and I love it. As I said against Millennium Force, Magnum XL 200 is my perfect coaster. Gotta go that way. Against Iron Gwazi, I gotta go with I-305. The Voyage against Iron Gwazi. I love Iron Gwazi a lot. I do. And I know I've said that a lot already. But the Voyage is such a good ride. And now between Twisted Timbers and Iron Gwazi. This is tough. This is tougher. But I do think Twisted Timbers offers more of what I like. And while I love the Death Roll and Iron Gwazi, I think the triple airtime hills and the Trick Track double up on Timbers elevate it over the top. Fury 325 Iron Gwazi. I'm going to go with Fury. Velocicoaster and Iron Gwazi. I'm going to stick with my previous pick, Velocicoaster. Time Traveler against Iron Gwazi is a little testy. Little testy. But I think I'm going to go with Time Traveler. Okay. This is the bait I see a lot on social media. I've seen it in person. And I'll say the same thing I tell everybody else with these two rides. When Iron Gwazi hits its final brake run, while what Iron Gwazi does in the first half is better than what Steel Vengeance does, what Iron Gwazi does is better than what the first half of Steel Vengeance does. When Iron Gwazi hits the final brake run, Steel Vengeance has a second half. And I like the second half of Steel Vengeance better than the first half anyway. Steel Vengeance it is. Iron Gwazi over Mamba. Pulsar or Green Stardust Racers over Mamba. Millennium Force over Mamba. Yellow Side of Stardust over Mamba. I would take the Legend as well. I gotta take King Ka. I will lean towards El Toro, although I will lean to Mamba over Kumba. I'll take Skyrush over Kumba. I'll take Airy Force 1 over Kumba. However, I will take Kumba over Top Thrill Dragster. The Boss at Six Flags St. Louis against Top Thrill. I gotta go with the Boss. Although against Renegade, I would take Top Thrill. I'll take Maverick over Renegade. I'd take Wildcat's Revenge over Renegade as well. Magnum XL 200 against Raging Bull. Again, I love how long Raging Bull is, but Magnum is going to win that one. I-305 is going to beat Raging Bull out. The Voyage will beat Raging Bull out. Twisted Timbers will beat Raging Bull out as well. And this is kind of close, but I got to take Fury. I'll take Velocicoaster over Raging Bull. I'll take Time Traveler over Raging Bull. Steel Vengeance over Raging Bull. Iron Gwazi. Stardust. Millie. Stardust again. Although I think I will take Raging Bull over the Legend. Afterburn. I'll take the Legend over Afterburn. I'll take King Dakar over Afterburn as well. El Toro I'll take over Afterburn. I think I will take Afterburn over Mamba, though. That might be a little bit of a surprise. Between Mamba and Pantheon. Again, Trimless Mamba is so good. If you haven't had the chance to ride it yet, get a chance, go ride it. Sky Rush over Pantheon. Air Force 1 over Pantheon. Oh, this is tougher. Well, I do like Pantheon. Kumba's just got that legendary status. I will take Pantheon over the boss, though. Now, the Beast against the boss. It still annoys me that I put Great Adventure there. It's Six Flags St. Louis, but these two are pretty close. And we're at 90%, so we're starting to get close to what my top 50 is as of the beginning of 2026. Between these two, while I do love the boss and I love what it does, I gotta go with the Beast. Although I will take the boss over Mystic Timbers. I'll take Mystic Timbers over Dragster. I'll take Dragster over Pipeline. Maverick over Pipeline. Wildcat's Revenge over Pipeline. I'll take Pipeline over Renegade. I'll take Monster over Renegade as well. I'll take Diamondback over Renegade. I think I will take Renegade over Thunderbird, though. I'll take Grizzly over Thunderbird. I'll take Thunderbird over Goliath over Georgia. I'd take Raptor over Goliath over Georgia. I think I'll take Alpengeist too. I take Monsu, but I will take Goliath over the Raven. And there it is. Our final rankings through my top 50 roller coaster. Let's go ahead and take a look at the results. And I told you guys ahead of time, I knew what my number one was. And I knew that Magnum XL 200 would stand alone at the top. Intimidator 305 coming in at number 2, also pretty expected. The Voyage at 3, I did not. I really thought I would have Twisted Timbers above it, but I just can't bring myself to pick Twisted Timbers over the Voyage. Fury 325 at number 5. Velocicoaster number 6. Time Traveler at 7. Steel Vengeance all the way down at 8. Iron Gwazi down at 9. Kind of surprising. Rounding out the top 10 is the Pulsar side, or the green side, of Stardust Racers. Millennium Force outside of the top 10. Did not quite expect that. Yellow side Stardust falling outside. Raging Bull at number 13, I think is a good spot for it. Legend at 14, not too surprising. King Dakar being up here kind of surprises me a little bit, though. Now, this is kind of showing the flaws of the bias sorter I'm using. Because King Dakar up here at number 15, and Top Thrill Dragster all the way down here at number 26. If given the choice to ride one of them, again, my choice would absolutely be Top Thrill Dragster. I do rank Top Thrill above King Dakar. So there are some issues with the way this bias sorter ranks things out, but at the same time, it is what it is. El Toro 16, Afterburn at 17, Mamba all the way up at 18. That's lower than I thought it would be. I thought I would have Mamba higher up. Air Force 1 all the way down at number 20 is also pretty surprising. Kumba at number 21, I think that's a good spot for it. Pantheon number 22. The Beast at Kings Island at 23. The Boss at St. Louis 24. Mystic Timbers rounds out my top 25. Top Thrill just outside there. Maverick below that. I'm not the biggest Maverick fan. I know a lot of people love it and have it really high, but it's not one of my favorites. Wildcat's Revenge at 28. Pipeline 29. Monster Adventureland, my highest ranking home park coaster, actually does break into my top 30. And above Diamondback, which I think is right. Renegade, Grizzly, Thunderbird, Raptor, Alpengeist. We have Montu right here. So we have a trio of B&M inverts down here. Goliath over Georgia at 38. The Raven at Holiday World at 39. Top Thrill 2 pretty far down, but I think that's about right. Orion. The Great America Batman at 42. Prowler at Worlds of Fun at 43. There was a long time where I thought this was by far my favorite wooden roller coaster. But it's kind of fallen off a little bit. I hope they get some work done on it because it can be really, really good. And it's still really, really good. Mako. The Six Flags Over Georgia Batman at 45. Goliath at Great America at 46. Outlaw Run at 47. Talon at 48. Nitro at 49. And rounding out my top 50 is Candemonium. And that will do it. If you've made it this far through all 6 episodes, very special thank you if you made it this far. If this is the first one you've watched, thank you very much. I do appreciate that you've watched this whole thing. I know it's been 51 minutes, and that's a long time. But thank you all very, very much. I really do appreciate it. And I think what I'll do in the future is every year I'll take my top 50, and I'll add the new coasters I've ridden in there. And I might go back through. I don't think I'll do a full series like I did this time, but I think I will go back through and start adding the new coasters I ride, and we'll see how they end up filling out into this. But as of right now, my top 10 as listed right here. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you all in the next one.